is Jay Carpenter of the Phone Word Forum, and today is October the 31st, 2012, and today we have the team from the SMS 800 Inc. We have Mr. Tom FitzGerald, who is President and CEO of SMS 800 Inc. We also have William Carter, who is the Chief Technology Officer, and Gina Perini. And Gina, what is your title?
I'm a Chief Administrative Officer and General Counsel.
Great, thank you. So we've got quite a few people joining us today, and I'd like to, Tom, William, and Gina, I really want to thank you for getting on the call today and giving us a chance to speak with you about what's going on with the SMS 800 Inc. and toll-free and the future of toll-free, et cetera. So we'll give it a few more minutes for people to join. Is there anybody who's joined the call? I know we've had quite a few chimes. Is there anybody who's joined the call who'd like to announce themselves at this point?
Jerry James Comptel.
Hi, Jerry. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Jay. It's David Greenhouse.
Hi, David. Welcome.
Aaliyah Christofferson.
Hi, Aaliyah.
Hi.
Well, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
That's why I said override.
Anybody else like to announce themselves?
Hi, Mary Redka from CenturyLink.
Hi, Mary. Welcome.
Thanks, Jay.
Anybody else like to announce yourself? One of the things about the Phone Word Forum is anybody's welcome. It's your choice to announce yourself or not. Just to give you a little overall framework for the Phone Word Forum, it is on the last Wednesday of every month at 4 p.m. Eastern. I haven't really highlighted that fact for some time, but you can just basically mark it on your calendar, and you're welcome to join us. One thing that has occurred since our last Phone Word Forum is I have posted the recordings for the last year, going back to when we had the Australian Communications and Media Authority on the call back in November of 2011. All those calls have been loaded into YouTube, and they are available at phoneword.com under the Phone Word Forum. So feel free to review any of the calls that we've had. And I do apologize for the kind of messy format on some of the call titles, but we will be cleaning those up given some time. So we're 3 minutes after the hour. We've got quite a few people on the call today, and I welcome everyone. And I always started off by just asking if there's anything anyone would like to say, any particular points you'd like to cover during this hour-long call. So I'll be quiet and let anybody chime in.
I just got on. It's Bill Sharp with Sharp Investments.
Hi, Bill. Welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for
How are
joining.
you guys?
Very well, thank you. All right. Well, the format is it's an open forum, and we can cover a number of topics. I think a couple of the topics that we are interested in covering would be what's going on with the SMS 800, let's say, new governance. Also, basically just what's the vision for the future of toll-free telephone numbering in North America. And Tom, you came on as President and CEO of SMS 800 Inc. in March of 2012, is that correct?
March 5th, of this year.
Okay. If you could just kind of give us a little bit of your background and introduce yourself to the folks on the call, I'd appreciate it.
I'd be happy to. First and foremost, I just want to thank you, Jay, for giving us this opportunity. You know, I think the toll-free industry is one of those industries that are sort of left in the dark for a long time, and now that we've got some opportunities to present and to talk to your forum and to other folks across the country, we're really excited. I mean, I think we have a great team with Will and Gina as my partners in growing this industry and really bringing this industry forward into the next generation. We're absolutely excited about it. These are the kind of forums we want to be part of. These are the kind of conversations we want to have. Many familiar names have already chimed in. Jerry, it was nice to meet you at ComTel, and thank you for joining. I want to give some credit to Aaliyah and Dale Schneeberger. Those two folks worked on a transition committee with us to kind of help move the industry forward, and they've been absolutely spectacular. And then the SNAC committee and Addis and those folks also have been very helpful in working closely with us in trying to look towards the future and see, you know, what we can do and what kind of opportunities we have. My background is I fell into telecom probably just like the rest of you. I was a business budget analyst for the city of Boston back in the early 80s, and my first assignment was to look at the telephone bill. So when someone asked me to do something, I kind of get a little bit crazy about it, and what I ended up doing is I ended up studying the PCAP, knowing all of the codes for all of the charges, and went through the entire city of Boston's bill and found that we could get them back a lot of money. Once I did that, it became my career to handle the telecom for the city of Boston, which what I did was pretty much replace 12,000 lines, built infrastructure, voice and data infrastructure for 400 buildings, transferred the police and fire headquarters into state-of-the-art technology at the time, and really got a good grasp around the telecommunications industry, and I had a great education through the time that I was there. Then I moved into a company that had I had a little bit of ownership with, but the next generation of technology was telecommuting, work at home, and I had done some work with this company, and they asked me to jump on, and we did telecommuting applications for 9X customers. So the ISDN and the bonding and those types of things. One of the feats we had there was we sold to Lotus Notes. So instead of building a building, they sent all of their high-tech programmers home, and they did their work from home. After that, I joined a company called Campus Link, which did voice data and video infrastructure for colleges and universities. This was prior to the cell phone boom and prior to free long-distance calling. And what we did is I was the director of operations nationally, and we had about 63 schools, colleges, and universities where we provided voice data and video services to those folks. The one single project I talk about is West Point. I had the opportunity to really manage and project manage and oversee technology going to West Point, which was a very, very amazing experience for me. Paytech Communications bought Campus Link because they had some folks that had worked for ACC, understood the college and university marketplace, and so they asked me to come up and they bought Campus Link, and then they, after about a year, or about a little less than a year, they asked me to come up and build their network operations center, some of their switches, oversee their fraud security department. So I spent a few years at Paytech as a vice president, and then I moved on to Frontier. Kind of backwards, went from a CLEC to an ILEC, and then I landed here. So I've got a lot of years in telecom. I've got a lot of different experiences. I've been in charge of sales organizations. I've been in strategic markets. I've been in operations, and I've been in next generation technology. So this opportunity that came to me is like a gift, because it kind of takes all of my capabilities and talents and puts them into one job, which I'm really happy about and humbled that I have it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom.
Very good.
Why don't I, Jay, kind of give you a little overview of where we're at, and that way folks can kind of just get a sense of what SMS 800 Inc. is up to, and kind of what we're thinking and what we're doing at this point in time, and then we can talk a little bit about where we think the industry is going.
That'd be great.
So, one of the things that my first priority, as soon as I would actually, before I even got the job and thought about this, is, sustainability of the industry. When we think about 800 numbers, they are still growing tremendously at a tremendous pace. I mean, we've got 33 million or so 800 numbers out there functioning today. But the actual RESPORGs and the people who are using 800 numbers has changed a little bit. And so we've got to keep an eye on what's going on in the industry. And from my perspective, it's my responsibility and our team's responsibility to sustain this industry and to move it forward so that all of our customers, our RESPOGs and our SCP owner-operators, have more and more opportunity with their end users and with their customers. And I think that's kind of the fun part of this job. Right now, we're doing, technology assessment. William has been focused on, getting to know our vendors, getting to know the folks that we interact with on a daily basis, understanding the architecture, really getting a feel for how things function down to the tedious levels, and getting to know, what opportunities we have within this functioning architecture today. That means what we're looking for and what we're trying to do is get our arms around the technology, understand its capabilities, understand its lack of capabilities or its gaps, and then put a plan together. And put a plan together in conjunction with the industry, in conjunction with our customers, to really move this industry forward and to get it into a place where we're not just a TDM toll-free provider. We have other things that we're thinking about down the future that hopefully will, with collaboration with Transition Committee and the new board function, which I think Gina might want to talk about a little bit. We have some ideas that we really want to move this industry forward, and our goal is to build something great, have fun doing it, do it the right way, so that all of our customers and all of our employees benefit by it. So that's sort of our goal. That's our general kind of thought process every day when we get up. We want to kind of make sure that we have a plan for the short term, from a technology standpoint, which William can talk a little bit about with regard to what kinds of advancements and enhancements we can do, some efficiencies that we've brought into the system functionally that we saw a few gaps here and there, and we said, okay, let's fix those right away. And then moving into, what does the future bring, and what is it that we have to do? Does it mean we have to, look at a new platform? Does it mean we can use the existing platform? So all of those assessments are being done. Like I said, I've been here since March. William's been here since May, and Gina started in August, and we are employee 1, 2, and 3. But I got to tell you, between March 5th and now, we have made great advancements. Not only from a technology standpoint and digging deep into that, but also in our collaboration and cooperation with the Transition Committee, with the SNAC Committee, and ADIS, on really coming together and moving the industry forward. Is there any questions? So why don't we have Gina? Why don't you give a little update, because one of the things, Jay, I think people are probably thinking about is where we stand right now with the tariff and the petition, and where is that right now, and what are our expectations? And I think Gina would be the best person to kind of give you an idea of where that stands today.
Great, thank you.
Great. Hi, everyone. As many of you know, we submitted a petition to the FCC in September, which proposed an organizational restructuring of SMS 800 Inc. so that we would have an expanded board that would include elected industry representatives. It also includes having the tariff, which is currently held by the box, be transferred to SMS 800 Inc. under this new board structure. Our indications, we don't know exactly when the FCC plans to issue an order based on our petition, but we had very positive comments, as many of you have probably seen. No negative comments came in during the comment period. The FCC has indicated that they're very positive about this petition, and that they have indicated that they might issue an order at the end of November or beginning of December. So this is all very positive. The FCC is really interested and engaged in this, and all indications are quite positive. Obviously, we would like this to move quickly so that we can have elections, so we can have you, the industry, become members of the entity and elect representatives to sit on the board. This was a very exciting time period for us. We need as much participation and involvement from the industry as possible so that we can have elections that represent you, that represent the people that yourselves, your businesses, your customers, and so that you can have people on the board to represent you. We're going to have a lot of information come to you. You probably already heard from us a couple of times to get executive contact information and some updates we've been giving so that we can make sure that the people in your organizations know about this, that people are prepared to vote. We'll be sending out information in the next few months because we hope to have elections as soon as possible in the first quarter, and I'm hoping as soon after the first year as we can. And we'll be having information sent out to you about what exactly does that mean. How do you vote? When do you vote? How do you get nominated? That's going to be really the first piece is going to be, who's interested to be on the board? What is the criteria for nomination? And that process is really starting now. We're going to be sending you materials. We're going to be talking about that. I open up conversation now if people have questions about the board and what it means to be elected to the board and that process. We're very open to this and want to have as much feedback as we can from you about the process.
Any questions in general from people on the call for Gina?
Yeah, I'd like to just add, and I'm sorry if I cut someone off, but this point in which we're at today, the feedback that we got is that the industry and SMS 800 came together and they all supported this, and they were very, very impressed and supportive of what occurred when the petition was filed and the support that came in. I think they said that there was, this was unprecedented in a lot of ways where folks like Aaliyah and a lot of the Resborgs wrote letters of support and really, really did kind of take away any issues or concerns that the FCC may have with regard to us moving this forward. So it was really a collaborative effort. It was an effort where all of us were speaking the same terms, and we were all in unison and unanimously supporting this tariff move.
I've got a question just for the general group. This is Jerry James Comptel. In our discussions with member companies and others in this sector, there seems to be some issues in the industry that a more balanced board would be willing to address. Is there going to be some form of communication with the newly formed board with the companies involved in this sector so as to get some sort of, as best you can, consensus on the primary issues, their priority, and what should be some of the proposed actions?
Well, Jerry, I think Gina touched on it a little bit, and we are constantly communicating with all of our customers to get the executive contact information to make sure that we have the primary and the secondary contact information. Part of our goal is to have 100% of our customers have the ability to vote, and in doing so, those folks will also get the information, the updates, and the ability to get nominated and or voted in. After that, I think what you're asking is how do we communicate or how do we look out for what's best for the industry? And in my mind, that is you have 4 representatives sitting at the table who are daily, day in and day out users of SMS 800 Inc.'s services, and those folks would be the spokespeople for the industry throughout their terms at the term on the board.
Okay.
I think there are some other ways that we also, as a company, want to reach out too. I mean, I think the board. It's important for the board to have communication and connection to the industry. But I think as a management team, we've talked a lot about making sure we understand what you want and the kind of advances or things you need to serve your customers and build your business. So we'd like to open up that dialogue and continue to create opportunities for us to open that dialogue with you.
Yeah, I think we're just setting the table for that opportunity, Jerry, because I think, all of us are saying, okay, what about IP? What about texting? What about caller ID? What about other products and services? What kind of products and services can be available to us that sustains this toll-free industry? Because if you look at the voice network as it goes into an IP world, how does that impact us and how does that affect us? So we want to get ahead of that, and we want to get our arms around that. And the only way we can do that is by talking to the industry and getting ideas and thoughts from some of those folks who are who have innovative ideas and already are planning on other ways to build their company and grow their revenue.
This is Aaliyah. What exactly does the FCC, what are they doing in November? I guess I'm not sure where we get from the first filing to what they do.
Right. So that what they would be doing is issuing an order that approves our petition, the proposed reorganization, and the tariff transfer.
Okay.
And so that's the order we're getting back from them, that we would need to get back from them, yes.
And then there's nothing from a regulatory standpoint between that and the election?
No, there isn't. We will be filing a 214 transfer for the tariff, but that's not connected to the election per se. And that's something we would need to do to transfer the tariff after the order. But once we get the order, we can move forward on the elections. We won't be able to immediately have the elections because we're in the process of developing that online voting system, which we believe will be ready soon after the beginning of the year. And that's really the technical timeline to be able to actually have elections.
Okay.
Yeah, and Aaliyah, just so you know, we've already started that development. You and I had talked a little bit about that, and we felt as comfortable as you felt, saying, okay, we if anything is going to change, it's not going to be much. We didn't get any feedback that says this doesn't look right. We didn't get any feedback that says this is wrong. So we just said, okay, let's move forward with this so that we can get the elections done as soon as possible.
So all the people that are asking me when, that I'm saying we should be sending out the nominations probably right after the first of the year, am I, as far as everything we know, in the right ballpark?
You are in the right ballpark, and we're even trying to shoot sooner, but yes, I mean, that is definitely the ballpark to be safe.
Yeah, I'm just saying the holidays.
Yeah,
I've just been telling people with the holidays, probably realistically, even if the timing works out faster, probably wouldn't make sense to do it till after the first of the year.
Yeah, and we had that conversation with our vendor who was doing the development to say, the holidays cannot hold us up, and they're committed to it, and they were fine with that. So I see that as being a good place to target.
Okay.
Is there any more questions on the petition or where we stand with the FCC? Jay, would you like William to kind of just give his overview of what we're seeing in the world?
That'll be great.
William?
Sure. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jay. And thanks, everyone from Phone World that routinely participate in this discussion. We at SMS 800 are proud to be here. It may be beneficial also, we talked about the website development or the development around the executive contact database and the voting functionality that will be utilized to establish the board. And as Tom stated, the development efforts are well underway. We've shared the requirements internally. Additionally, we've taken all of the necessary steps to make it an official project. Dates are fairly solid at this point in time, and we do suspect that by Q1 of next year, we should be in pretty good shape and have all this functionality in place. The voting and the executive contact database should be ready by December, and the last portion being the voting functionality will follow shortly thereafterwards. I, as Tom stated at the beginning of the call, have been on board since May, and not a long time, but the primary focus has predominantly been an assessment of what's in existence. So we've gone out and we've spent a substantial amount of time kind of evaluating the platform and its capabilities, but more importantly, or equally important, we've spent a tremendous amount of time just establishing relationships with our vendors, understanding their roles, evaluating their roles and their responsibilities, and evaluating the companies and the network of vendors' cultures and capabilities. And we've ended with very high marks that all that is in place, the platform and the people that are involved, are totally dedicated to the SMS 800 environment and are in place and work every single day in a dedicated manner to do what's best. As it exists, as it relates to the technology in general, we will continue the evaluation. What we needed to do, obviously, is to complete the assessment of the platform. We will continue to do so, but phase 2 will be to talk about how we proceed. None of those plans have been necessarily completed as yet, but maybe when we return to this discussion, if we're invited back, we will be able to share a little bit more of those details at that point in time.
So, William, if I could just kind of summarize where I heard that you're at, you've been establishing your relationships with the vendors that have been in place for a number of years, running the SMS 800 database, and right now it sounds like you're primarily focused on the platform that would enable the voting functionality for the election of the new board members, and then after that time you're planning to turn your attention to what's possible with either the legacy SMS 800 database or possibly a new SMS 800 database, and that's kind of the path forward.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Jay. The most important, one extremely important piece, as everyone knows, this platform has obviously been in existence for an extremely long time, and we really wanted to, and me personally, I really wanted to understand that I understood the platform's capability to the best of my abilities, and I think that that assessment period up to this point has consumed the greater majority of our time, and coincidentally, the establishment or the transfer of the tariff happened to coincide with that process, and so we've taken a bit of our time to make sure that the functionality that would support the executive contact database as well as the voting functionality was well defined, and the development requirements were well defined, and the process that it would require to ensure that that was a success was being taken care of correctly.
Okay.
I will
Great.
say this, Jay, that William is an incredible multitasker. So he's just not thinking about one or two things at a time. I mean, he's one of our great finds in that he's also, got the ideas of what the future can bring, and he's also got some thoughts in what we can do for the future. So we're focused on those things, and yes, we're doing all of them now, but we also are, just kind of out there talking to other types of companies and seeing what they're doing and kind of get a feel for, where the generation is going, where the next generation of worker is going to be, what kind of communications we need. We're looking at mobility, we're looking at apps, we're looking at everything because there is a change in the world, and we want to make sure that this industry is not left behind.
All right.
Great. Well, let's ask anyone that's on the call if they have any questions for William or Tom or Gina regarding the technology side of the platform and so forth. Well, feel free to chime in. I guess I would open it up and ask the three of you to just share with all of us on the call what do you see as a future for toll-free telephone numbers in the industry, and fully recognizing that you're still in the process of evaluating the technology side and so forth, but I think it's pretty clear that we're in the middle of a sea change, or what I would call a tectonic shift in the entire telecommunications media industry, and the next 3, 4, 5 years, if it ushers in anything like we've seen in the past 2 or 3 years in terms of mobilization, cloud, open source software, everything that's happened over the last couple of years, I think we're in for a rather exciting time. And just throw it out there. I guess I'll start with you, Tom.
Yeah, I think, Jay, you just described why the three of us are in this business and what we see as the exciting part of waking up every day and going to work. Because it's our job to figure that out. I mean, if you take it back to the simplest form, there's 33 million customers out there that our Restborgs feed 800 services to. A lot of them are identifiable. The 800 number is their identity. It is who they are. And, we're never going to stop the call centers from having 800 numbers, and we're going to continue to have those types of access points for our services, and they will stay the same, and they may stay on a TDM network. Who knows? But there's also this idea of mobility, and there's also this idea of, okay, how do we wrap the 800 toll-free industry around that number and provide a quality service to the end users through our customer base? Because I think that's where the innovation and the neat ideas and the thoughts are going to start to really bubble up and become reality. I mean, who'd have thought 5 years ago you can get an app that goes into your bank and you can do everything you want. I mean, those are the types of things where when you look at all the applications, you look at all the things that are going on, we have to be in that game somehow. We have to find the right source and the right ideas and the right thoughts to be in those games, because mobility and toll-free are they're apart from each other. There are some concerns about toll-free and mobility, and we want to make sure that they become partners, and they become accessible, and they become services that we can provide. I always use this analogy. My children, all 4 of them, I ask about 800 services, and none of them use 800 numbers. That doesn't mean they're going to go away, but when you think about the next generation of worker, and you think about, I've watched my son and how he goes about finding out his information, and my daughter, it's all through the internet, it's all through data, it's all through applications, and this is how they go and talk to the vendors that they want to deal with, or talk to the companies they want to deal with. We need to be part of that. We need to get in that direction with them, and we need to make sure that we are providing some type of service, and we are really attaching and bolting the toll-free industry into the ability to communicate with those stores, manufacturers, companies, what you're loyal to and who you talk to every day. How do we make sure that we're involved in that? In a general concept, and now that's my thought process, is that's the way you sustain the 800 services, the toll-free industry, and it's up to us to collaborate with the industry and with innovative companies to say, okay, what is it that we got to be delivering? and we've got to go find that information out. We've got to narrow it down. We've got to validate it and vet it, and then we've got to make sure that we have the capabilities to develop it and release it to our customer base.
William, is there anything that you'd like to add to Tom's comments there?
Yeah, Jay, I think Tom did a good job at covering our perspective on this. If you look at this industry and you go back a few years, you think about 800 numbers. The R box were the predominant owners and users. Many res boards have entered to market, and behind them there's been a second, third generation of companies that have also sprung into play and are heavy users, which includes everyone from marketing companies all the way through real estate companies. There are many different industries that depend on these 800 numbers, and as Tom stated, one of our core focus is to make sure we understand how the numbers and the services are being utilized. And we want to make sure that we can build the gap between how they're currently utilized today and then the general shift in technology with respect to the industry in its entirety. And we want to build the bridge between the two to make sure that this industry and the uses of 800 number, not just as it exists today, but more importantly for the future, that gap is built and ensures that this industry remains relevant.
To that point, I guess one of the issues that I know you're aware of is that, has taken the very strong position that companies have the right under the 96 Act for interconnect on a technology-neutral basis, and we are seeking to have IP-to-IP interconnections with the large ILECs and others. And the reason that is really significant, to your point, is all the advanced services, the conversions with 4G to be able to transfer through the network in a digital format, paying that digital format, other than just voice communication, but that is the primary class of service, but other things like text or video as required in the E911 networks for the future. It seems to me like the 800 market and all the participants within the 800 would want to be sure that didn't get left behind in the TDM world, which limits the applications that could be served via this toll-free network. If it couldn't go through on a class of service QoS, for example, if people were to use 800 inbound numbers for machine-to-machine communications or some other form of traffic that would require QoS and keeping it in a digital format, such as other voice communications and so on, voice alerts, things of that nature that are required. Anyway, I just throw that out. I think that's one of the things that this group's going to have to deal with, along with the rest of the industry, as making that transition smooth and effective, so that everybody's on the same playing field for whatever diverse services or products they can come up with.
Yeah.
I think that's
right. Jerry?
Yes.
Yes, Tom.
That was you. You hit on all of the...
Well, that actually, Tom, I believe that was Jerry James of Comtel.
Yeah, that's what I said. Was it Jerry?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you hit on a lot, and I'll let William jump in there, but you hit on a lot of the things that have already been topics of discussion, and I think Dave Greenhouse could probably jump in here in our conversations, because he's been very, vocal about snack issues and ideas and thoughts that we should be thinking about. So everything you're talking about is pretty much what I'm summarizing, is that we have to bring this industry into that technology some way, somehow, and make sure that it has its place. Texting to 800 numbers, one of the things we talk about, we have 1 hour sessions that we just kind of sit in a room and we start throwing stuff off the wall. It's just, brainstorming. And, texting to 800 numbers, making 800 numbers cool for kids. Why would they want one? Is there a reason for that? Making sure that whoever owns an 800 number today does not want to lose that because it has other things attached to it other than just the ability to call into a voice messaging system or call into a call center. It has other applications that we can drive through that 800 number over a data network. So you're absolutely right. That's where we're focused on, those ideas and thoughts and opportunities, as well as whatever short-term advantages we can give our customers today under the existing platform. So there's the short-term, what can we do today, but when we have our new board and we have the participation and we get all that involvement, I think what you're going to see is, okay, now we're going to have to look at, is the platform that we have today the right platform? Can we drive that kind of technology over it? Do we need some other type of platform to deliver those products and services? What in specific are those products and services that are going to catch on fire and have people turn their heads and say, I need that? Whether it's from their mobile phone or from their computer or from their home phone, those options and those capabilities are interesting and inviting to them, and that's really what we want to be able to do.
Yeah, this is Jay, and I'd just like to highlight a couple points. I think there's an enormous opportunity for toll-free telephone numbers, and just to kind of summarize where things have been, up until this point, I would say in general, people have viewed the internet and internet domains as a way to get data, to get have a visual experience, and telephone numbers have been the method for having a voice experience like we're all having right now. And within that voice experience, I think that toll-free telephone numbers have been a preferred method and a preferred brand of connecting customers to businesses. And there's a huge amount of comfort being familiar with toll-free telephone numbers and trust surrounding the customer-to-business connection around toll-free telephone numbers. Now, having said that, I think we're at a key junction point where the internet connection is more and more becoming voice-enabled. And so, I think we've got a real opportunity as an industry to leverage what's been the trust surrounding toll-free telephone numbers. However, we are, in my view, at a very critical point, and that, moving forward from the past is, the time to do that's now, because things are moving at probably an unprecedented pace.
I agree. One of the things I'd like to point out, though, is that the distinction is the internet is a best efforts, and the voice network is a QoS 5 nines reliability and so on. And I was recently at a conference a couple of weeks ago where a lot of technology companies that are developing some very smart applications for FedEx, tracking shipments of drugs which require a certain environment, such as darkness, and they put devices in there that continue to communicate and so on. So I think that without the quality of service, a number of the machine-to-machine or these kinds of communications that could occur via the 800 to have a common polling for voice traffic as well as other types of messages are going to require that QoS in order to get the integrity of the data, particularly if it's a critical process. But I agree with you, but I think that's the thing we all have to march to, is to get the building blocks in order.
Jerry, that's a great point, and I think we're all not so naive that we know that the infrastructure that we're carrying a lot of our traffic over today has not been brought up to speed. So right. QoS is absolutely critical. in order to make sure that whatever service you're providing from a voice perspective gets done correctly. And you know that if you look at across the country, there are very few companies that can provide you IP end to end without going over someone else's network and someone else's areas. And that's when you have to really understand what your traffic is transversing over, and what your capabilities have to be in order to get that message clear to the other end, especially if it's an IP voice call, because otherwise you're going to be bottlenecked just like everybody else. And the more we push, the more you're pushing internet and voice services over these IP networks, the more you're going to have bottlenecks unless you get QoS and you make sure that it's functioning at every switch and at every box all the way through.
I agree.
Yeah, if you contemplate, kind of the beginning of this call, we talked about that this 800 industry must be made relevant, and that said, we cannot obviously operate on an island. If you think about the fixed wire industry, the PSTN industry, it has evolved dramatically. There are, outside of the wide-ranging IP or internet-based services, the infrastructure, the IP base, the soft switch technology, it has been growing and will continue to grow for many, many years. So the big iron, traditional TDM switches, the older Nortel, the DSC, all those switches that we're really familiar with, slowly but surely they will continue to be pulled out. And all that said, to ensure that we are ensuring that this industry is relevant, to ensure that we are operating and moving in the same direction, it will require collective participation. And I think without question, we actually invite and we welcome that form of input so that we understand what's important to everything. You think about, as the world has changed, we will have to, as an IP based technology, when we get there, we will have to consider, as Jerry stated, VQoS issues 5.9s. But we also are now aware of that there's things that we can do beyond standard BGP that can deal with voice quality of services, that can increase jitter and can eliminate packet loss. One of the benefits, to a degree, if you want, and I think you should look at it as the glass is half full, some of the industry that has gotten out in the IP world in front of us, they've cleared the way and they've identified some solution. It will be to help with VQoS related issues. From an 800 industry perspective, as we now establish and start to move forward, it will be our responsibility to responsibly utilize some of these more advanced protocols that will ensure that voice quality of service issues are eliminated, and we can talk and utilize this industry clearly and reputably without having some of the issues that others have and continue to deal with.
William, thank you. I think those are great points, and QoS has been paramount importance in the toll-free industry and will continue to be. Just to make sure that I understand where we're at today, William, it is toll-free telephone calls today are dependent upon the PSTN being in place for the initial call setup. Is that correct?
For the initial call setup, I mean, it depends. It depends on where you're making the phone call from. I mean, you can clearly dial an 800 number from your mobile. It will transit the mobile network. Eventually, for the greater majority, it will ingress toward the PSTN network and therefore terminate more than likely on the PSTN network.
Yeah, wireless calls at least a half or more on the wireline network, and Teacher Group D is, I anticipate, is the most common access method.
Sure.
But yeah, there are some that do originate wireless, but the majority is dependent upon the public network.
That's right.
But the inbound side on the service control points requires the PSTN for the lookup into the SMS 800 database. Is that correct?
Well, it is. Well, yes and no. So so the SCPs, for the most part, time has changed. They used to, for the most part, depend exclusively on the C7 network, and they still do across many networks. But also, the shift in next generation technologies has created many different types or generations or versions of SCP. Some are, in fact, SCP-based. And so there's a hybrid. There's a split in the industry as it exists today. And when I say the industry, I'm talking about telecommunications industry, not just specifically the 800 industry. For example, my past place of employment, I operated as Senior Vice President of Operations, Engineering, and Software Development, and we built and designed and deployed SCPs throughout the world, Pacific Rim, the U.S., and part of Europe that were IP-based. So the technology is there. Within the 800 world, Jay, and as Jerry stated, it is evolving. Today, from an SCP point of view, exclusively, predominantly, it is still PSTN based. The good news about considering the example that I used earlier, where a lot of the other parts of the industry has moved forward, they've identified IP-based solutions. That will actually enable a path. It has cleared a path for us to actually join in and utilize some of the previously successfully deployed technologies that will make our road to success, I hate to utilize the word easy, but I will say that it will be a path that we won't have to experience all of the failures that and the troubles a lot of the other aspects of the industry did experience.
Okay, and the SCPs you're talking about, William, were those on the geographic numbering side?
So I spoke of a couple different SCPs. I just used my past experience to talk about, to define or to highlight the fact that having worked in my past place of employment, we deployed IP-based technology. So I use that as an example to highlight the fact that there are IP-based capabilities out there today that can be integrated into SCPs. Again, if you look at this industry specifically, the greater majority, if not all, are still predominantly PSTN based, and that is where the change will come from. So what's next for them, it will be defined by these types of discussions inside the 800 industry.
Okay, and that's the part that you're currently evaluating?
Well, that's the part that we will evaluate. We understand that the world has changed. And if you go back, Jay, and you contemplate a lot of some of the separate statements that have been made on this call, and you roll them all up together, it's all about us collectively ensuring that this industry, and Tom FitzGerald states this relentlessly, we must ensure that this industry remains relevant. And as part of ensuring relevancy, the SCPs, which control, that house the information and download routing information into the switch network, into the voice network, whether that's a big older big iron TDM-based switch or a next generation IP-based switch, we will have to make sure that these SCPs are IP compliant and capable, because that's where the world is, and we have to get there to ensure relevancy.
Mm-hmm.
And the availability of enum dips already exist. And so really what we're talking about here is, again, this product is very important to a lot of new applications that haven't used this product before, if it can meet the QoS and network reliability issues, that's, to me, it's unlimited in terms of those kinds of applications because of the universality of 8YY toll-free access. And the question just becomes is, will the policymakers make the right decision to be sure we all have the capability, then we all collaborate to interconnect? Because if you get into an IP-to-IP interconnection type of network, you can reduce the number of POIs that can cover a much more larger geographical area. It'll obviously handle a lot more different types of signaling, and the flexibility there to keep it in the original form to maintain all that integrity has a lot of advantages for this type of application as well as many others.
That's right.
Absolutely.
No question.
Yep. Well, we've got about 5 minutes before the end of the hour. I think we've covered some great ground on this call, and I'd like to just kind of open it up for the last 5 minutes or so. Any general questions, comments from anyone on the call? Tom, anything you'd like to say to wrap up the call?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again, Jay, and thank you to the industry. The short time that I've been here, they've been very helpful in educating me and bringing me up to speed, and the collaboration, the cooperation that's going on is it's incredible, because I think, William said it, I reiterated it, it's all about sustainability and making sure there's viability in this industry going forward. And that's why we're excited about this. I mean, I think, the team that we have so far, and hopefully to grow, lots of energy, lots of good ideas, and we're having fun doing it. And I think that's critical, because we're all very open. We have all different ideas and different thoughts, but our communication and our capability to work with the industry has been the catalyst to get us moving to where we are today, and we're going to continue to lean on those folks and work with those folks to get everybody into the future.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate your participation and chance to chat and talk about what the future is and how we can all participate. And our next PhoneWord Forum will be November the 28th at 4 p.m. Eastern. There will be a time change between now and then, so people should key off of that 4 p.m. Eastern time. This call will be posted hopefully within the next few days on phoneword.com in the PhoneWord Forum section. And Tom, William, Gina, I really appreciate your participation. I appreciate everybody who's participated on the call today. And unless anybody has any other comments or questions, we will wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Thanks.
Okay.
It was
Thanks.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.